In this episode of Cosmic Cantina, Josh announces his proclamations to invite the paranormal into his life through CE5 contact. But Matt has warnings against this, with negative encounters from previous contactees and investigators. Then, I talk about an archaeological discovery that suggests contact with other entities goes back centuries. I'm your host, Melissa Tittle, and every week I go to my favorite bar, Cosmic Cantina, and kick back with my co-hosts, Josh Golembeski and Matt O'Connor. We talk about aliens, Bigfoot, ghosts, ancient cultures, and anything from the unseen world that needs a little illumination. Hey everybody, welcome to this week's Cosmic Cantina. I am drinking a cup of tea because I had a little too many margaritas last night. But what are you guys drinking?
You know what? We're back on the Ilosa hard kombucha.
Nice.
Ginger lemon.
And it's just a delightful little treat.
Well, cool. You guys have fun because I'm going on the sober train today.
You're a little dusty. I get it.
But it doesn't mean I didn't read anything. I definitely found something to read.
Someone's got an article.
Somebody's got an article. And it's me. So I found this article from Vox News. Vox, that's with a V. V-O-X News.
Yep. I'm down with that.
And the title is, Scientists Are Asking Kids to Design Our Planet's Next Message to Aliens. I thought this was kind of interesting. So I checked it out. And apparently this February is the 46th anniversary of the launch into space, the message we launched into space in 1974, which was a binary code. And we put this binary code out there hoping that we would reach aliens and somehow they would decode it and they would say, oh, I know who they are and we're going to come visit. Right?
Is this the same thing with the gold disc that they sent out? Is that
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And is this, if I remember correctly, there's a crop circle that supposedly answered that and came back the same information.
I don't know
Instead of a
that.
human figure in the middle, it was an alien figure.
It was like, hey, we got your golden disc. You got to upgrade that shit. All right, so back to the article. So the Arecibo Observatory in Puerto Rico is putting together this contest for kids to design the next message. Now, because it's the 46th anniversary. It was the 45th anniversary when this article came out, but this February is the 46th anniversary, and they still haven't decided. So the reason they picked kids, which I thought was really interesting, is that too many scientists have too many opinions, and they're bogged down on their own version of what they think they need to get out there.
Right.
And there's a whole bunch of fights on should we even be putting messages out there. I think you'll remember Stephen Hawking said, we shouldn't be doing that. Look what happened when Columbus came to the New World type of thing. We shouldn't really be trying to reach aliens.
Well, look at that movie, Independence Day. That didn't work out good for anyone.
They obviously got the golden disc.
Yeah.
Just wasn't the right aliens we were trying to reach.
Yeah, but how many times in history has a civilization showed up somewhere else and they benefited, That's just like cherry-picking one bad story that Columbus showed up and just basically destroyed all the Native Americans.
Well, it's a pretty big story, Josh.
It is, but I'm just saying.
It's like
that
all
guy,
of America was completely, most of 80% of the Native American population was completely wiped out because of Columbus.
Pretty sure that happened in Australia, too.
It's terrible. What I'm saying is he cherry-picked one story in history to make a point, and there's lots of examples of cultures colliding and thriving. That's all I'm trying to say.
That
guy's a negative Nelly. That's all I'm trying to say.
So because of this fight between the negative Nellies and the people that really want to try to put some intelligent conversations out in space, they decided kids can handle it, which I thought was really interesting.
I think so, too.
I think that, and the reason is because they have a bigger, broader understanding of the bigger picture of whatever that means. And that's kind of interesting because kids don't have all the little pieces, right?
They don't have the filter of
they don't have a filter.
Saying this is bullshit or whatever.
They can say, hey, we would like to invite you to tea. I don't know.
Well, they're also just not scared.
They're not scared.
It just depends how you raise them. Like in my house, I don't try to show my kids any type of scary alien movie. I don't want them to grow up thinking aliens are scary. We also don't avoid the topic of life in the universe. We just talk about it like it's completely normal. So they don't have the fear. I still have a fear, even though I know most of that fear is just propaganda that we shouldn't follow. I still have this deep-seated fear, oh my God, if a ship came down, my heart would race. I'd feel all terrible. But I don't know about my kids or kids in general. They might be totally open to it.
Right. I think the new generation is totally open to it. So that's why they're kind of putting them in charge of that. So one of the guys that's working on this project, actually, he's involved with another group. He used to be part of SETI, and now he's part of METI, which is Messaging Extraterrestrial Intelligence. And this guy's name is Douglas Vakuch. And he has what he calls a zoo hypothesis, which he suggests that extraterrestrials may be keeping an eye on our planet, but are waiting for us to indicate that we want to be in contact with them at a sophisticated enough contact that they would want to speak to us. Of course, he has a lot of negative feedback, like, you don't know what you're doing. But I just thought this article is interesting because I know, Josh, you've been working on trying to do your own kind of contact.
Yes, I have. First of all, I agree 100% with that they're waiting for us. They're already there, and we just got to reach out. It's not really about us being worthy, but we just have to show that our consciousness is elevated enough where contact makes sense. So yeah, I did a lot of research. One thing this year, 2020, my big proclamation this year is I've lived my whole life researching and making shows and movies about the paranormal space or supernatural stuff in general. But yet, how much time have I actually spent trying to attract it myself? When I was a kid, I used to go on ghost hunts in the old graveyards in my hometown. I did some Bigfooting back in the day. I've done a little bit
like last weekend.
Yeah. I wish. No, I've really fallen off in the last couple of years, so I've kind of made a restatement to this year to attract the supernatural to my life. And
some people are on diets, but you, my friend, are looking for aliens.
I want to see ghosts and aliens. So that's my big thing this year. What are some ways that you could attract the supernatural? What does that really mean? There's many different ways. It depends if you want to attract psychic moments or this, that, and the other thing. It seems like the key to almost everything, to trying to contact ghosts, even Bigfoot, aliens, or gaining your own or developing your own psychic powers, is all through consciousness and meditation. If you really do the research, it's all about meditating, really. So I've started a meditation practice. I've had one before, but this one I'm really sticking to, and I'm already noticing the effects in my life.
So why meditation?
Well, there's a bunch of different reasons. I'll get to the main point in a second, but one of the things I always wanted in my life was more synchronicities, and meditation definitely helps with that. But the specific reason why I got into it is I've always been obsessed with one particular aspect of the UFO community, and that is CE5. What is a CE5? It's Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind, which I'm sure most people have seen the movie Close Encounters of the Third Kind, when you have actual contact with an alien.
So before we go on, let's just break down quickly what the 6 different close encounter types are. First one, Close Encounters of the First Kind, CE1.
CE1.
Visual sightings of UFOs seemingly less than 500 feet away, that have some sort of they're not like airplanes, or it's not a bird, it's not Superman, it's something odd in the sky that's like a light, basically. So the second kind, CE2, it's with a UFO event with a physical effect is alleged. So there's interference with the vehicle. People report the vehicle stopping and stuff.
But no touching, no probes.
No, there's no touchy on this one.
Okay, no touchy.
So electronic interference, animals freaking out, other kind of physiological things like feeling like heat or that kind of thing. Okay, so CE3 is actual interaction with a physical being of whatever it is, the humanoids, robots, whatever it is, from the UFO.
Yeah.
The fourth is the freakiest kind, which I would warn against. Don't ever have this. Is the abductions, right? So that's when the touchy happens. The butt probing, the getting some sort of alien hybrid baby put in your womb.
Totally normal.
That kind of thing.
Happens all the time.
Yeah.
Right. Actually, there's 7 kinds listed here.
Oh.
So fifth kind is direct communication between aliens and humans. So this is where, and this is popularized by Stephen Greer, where he directly tries to contact and bring about a visual
through advanced meditation protocols and consciousness.
Right. Yep. So yeah, it's like the direct conversation. With
so in your head,
mind.
They don't come down and they're like, woo.
You reach out. No, C5 is making contact. So it's
okay.
Right.
It can be like a similar experience to CE1 through 4, but it's you are initiating. That's the key on a CE5. You initiate contact.
Got it.
So CE6 is when a death occurs.
Whoa.
Post meeting. So a death directly related to the contact with the UFO of the human or an animal associated with the UFO sighting.
Oh.
So that one's
Like
scary shit.
cattle mutilations.
That's
Yeah,
yeah.
I guess so.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know that
If
was a
you could
category.
Directly relate
Yeah.
that to a UFO, yeah.
I thought we stopped at 5, but apparently there's 7.
And there's 7, yeah. So
It's like chakras. Every time I learn about them, there's like 3 more.
right, yeah. God, they're everywhere.
They keep
Chakra,
going.
the tip of my penis. So then, 7th kind is
It is actually. Yeah.
is the creation of an alien-human hybrid. So that's the whole Stephen Jacobs. Oh man, I was David Jacobs.
Jacobs is in the name, so that's good.
All right,
Close enough.
Mr. Jacobs.
Mr. Jacobs.
Who talks about
Mr. Jacobs.
the subtle infiltration of humanity by the aliens creating hybrids and sort of infiltrating us through the back door.
Very interesting. I didn't know there was a 6 and 7 actually.
So 7, what does that mean? Like when you say hybrid, does that mean they alter your DNA?
Well, this is more when we were talking about the creation of actual hybrids is either it's never usually they manipulate your DNA. It's when men talk about having their semen taken or women having their eggs taken or literally being used as incubator for a baby, and then they're pregnant for a while. And then they get taken up, and all of a sudden they're not pregnant anymore, so the baby's taken away.
Right.
That kind of creepy stuff.
Weird.
Yeah.
But nothing happens to the person where they don't become the next.
No.
They don't become
No. They
hybrid.
just provide the
the means for
bits
one.
and pieces.
Got it.
In a sticky kind of way.
I don't know if
Gross.
I don't know if we need 7 distinctions of this. It feels like a lot of those could fit into one category, but it's fine. Like
But it's okay. Josh isn't going to go to 7. He's only going to 5.
It's a hard cut at 5.
Yeah.
But I have one of the most interesting stories I've ever found about really anything supernatural, and it's related to CE5. It is a story where someone wildly transforms. It involves aliens, but it also is bigger than that. It's very spiritual at the same time. It's kind of the perfect story. It should be a movie in a sense. So there's this guy named Mark Sims, and I came across a couple of his videos on YouTube, where he went on a CE5 mission with Dr. Stephen Greer, who kind of created this thing, who's like kind of the king of the UFO space in some sense. And he, in 2012, led by Greer, in the desert of Borrego Springs, California. I totally butchered that. November 15th, 2012 at 11 p.m. Him and a group of people, after doing these CE5 protocols, these deep meditation protocols, where they reach out within your mind and with love and peace and harmony and try to make contact, a huge group of people witnessed a giant UFO, a giant light in the sky that was pretty close up. Half the group witnessed it 'cause they were facing that way, and the other half didn't by the time they turned around. It was a big moment.
So this is classic C5. So they reached out to whatever intelligence and something appeared.
Yes.
Okay.
Exactly.
So it's like a group of them, and then they meditate. They do a certain kind of meditation, correct?
Yeah. Sorry, let me back up. They go out in the woods at night in a remote area, and they all, in a group, meditate together doing these very specific protocols, which you can easily get online. You can download Dr. Greer's app, which has exactly what they do. And they do other things, too, with lasers and sounds to help attract it. But it's one of those things you can do by yourself, the CE5, but it's not as powerful. The more people who are involved in it, the better. The louder the noise is, the louder the microphone is, and the more likely they are to notice you. It's like they're waiting there, like we were saying in the beginning. They're waiting for us to make contact. They're just kind of hovering and watching. And as soon as we reach out or show that our consciousness has been lifted, that we're evolving a little bit, they will answer you. So they're already there. It really is true. That's why I 100% believe with that guy, what he said. So anyways, this is where the story gets awesome. That's a typical CE5 experience. But this guy was an atheist. So he showed up to this kind of like, I don't really believe in anything. That event shocked him so hardly that night that he came back by himself that night, had another experience. And this is where I think the UFO experiences get really interesting. He came out and meditated, and it's not just seeing a light in the sky. It's not just seeing a craft. He had, like, he closed his eyes, and when he opened them, everything was green. Just everything around him was green. The sky, the woods, everything.
He'd been slimed.
He was just on a Nickelodeon show. And
So it's like he had a filter on, like those night vision.
they
kind
made
of
him
filters?
see. So when he was seeing the green, things looked different. Like he saw. It's almost like a psychedelic experience where you kind of see how the world works, without going into too much details about it. So he had that moment. Then he walked away, and he started to have like feelings and thoughts and images in his head. And as he was walking back, he started to talk to him. He was like, "I'm just going to reach out and not be scared." And all of a sudden, a shooting star like went across him, like right at the moment he asked a question. So there's all these little weird synchronicities that suggest that something is going on. I love this about UFO events. It's not just about seeing something. It's about all the little weird things that happen, the high strangeness.
Yeah.
So this is where the story gets crazy. He goes back to his hotel. and he's in his hotel, and he goes into another meditative state. And one thing he talks about, and Greer talks about, you can't have fear, and you have to invite them in. It's very like a vampire. You have to say it's okay to come to me.
That's kind of scary, though.
I know the vampire thing is weird, but you have to say you have to